Hello and welcome to the show. Today, the question we're going to tackle is what are the best practices for overcoming sales objections? Now, I suspect this is something I've already dealt with on the podcast in the past, but because we have newbies, people discovering the show every now and then, it's not a bad idea to keep revisiting some of these topics. Apart from that, I suspect that the last time I tackled it, it was very tips and tricks kind of. I think that was kind of the approach that I took. But right now, I think I'd like to tackle it, with some tips and tricks, but probably giving more of the right perspective, more of the right mindset to have when dealing with sales objections. So first off, as usual, we have to define what an objection is. And of course, I'm not going to give you the correct business definition. I'm just going to give a everyday simple definition that you can use and that you can remember. So an objection is not just when the customer says no. An objection is when the potential customer or client or whoever it is you're trying to talk to, the stakeholder, when they give some reason for not taking the next step with you or for not going ahead. So whatever it is, that is an objection. Because some people think objections are just when somebody says your price is too high or let me get back to you. So yes, your price is too high, let me get back to you. Those are very common ones. But anything beyond those two or in between that seems to sound like a reason why the person is kind of delaying and they don't want to go ahead, and anything that comes up, that is an objection for when the person is not ready to take the next step. So of course, we need to find out, why do people have objections when we are in a business context? And if you remove your business owner hat for a bit and just remember that we're all human, it will occur to you that, sorry about the noise in the background. This is an out and about episode, so expect to hear people talking, cars in the background, things like that. So so if we forget that we're business people and we're trying to move products and we're trying to sell our services, and remember that we're human beings, you will see that it's perfectly normal for people to have reservations or to have concerns or to be confused. For instance, 3 weeks ago, I'm minding my business at home, trying to get some work done, and then my son comes and it's like, "Dad." I'm like, "Yes, what is it?" And he says the DSTV is not working. And so I told him, "Have you looked outside?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Can you see the rain?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, it's because of the rain. That's the reason why the signal is not showing." And then my son said, "No, the dish must be spoiled." And I told him, "Look, you don't know anything about DSTV. The dish is perfectly fine. I had it reinstalled 2 years ago. Can you see it out there? It's fixed with a metal rod. The wind has not been heavy. There's no problem with the dish. So you guys go and play. Leave me alone. I'm doing some work." And that's how I brushed him off. And then several hours, he came again and he said, "Dad." I was like, "What?" And he says, "The DSTV is still not showing." I said, "Look, can you look outside?" He said, "Yes." "Can you see it's still raining?" I said, "Yes." "So don't disturb me. Go and play. In fact, go and read your books. Bring the computer, open to Khan Academy. You haven't done the math videos. So what was the last video you did? Okay, do this video, solve the problems, and, let me be." And then he went away. And then the next day, started again. This time, both of them. "Dad." I was like, "What?" He said, "DSTV is not working." I said, "Okay." I went, I looked at it, I fiddled, nothing seemed to be working. I looked at the dish, and the dish seemed fine, but still, I just called the DSTV guy. I told him, "Okay, thing is not showing. This is the error message, blah, blah, blah." And then he says, "Oh, it must be the dish that needs repositioning." I said, "Okay, no, Allah, no problem. When are you free?" "I'm free in 2 hours." "Okay, come, let's get this thing sorted." And then he comes. And then he came and he pulled out the machine and he stuck something at the back of the TV, stuck something at the back of the decoder. He fiddled something here, fiddled something there. Some bar graphs came up, signal strength, this, blah, blah, blah. And then he went outside. And then next thing he said, "Oga." I said, "What happened?" He said, "The signal receiver is bad." In my mind, I'm thinking, oh God, I'm just spending money up and down. And I didn't need this to happen. Also, because in my mind I was thinking, as when they say signal receiver is bad, I'm thinking that's something that will maybe cost 100 grand or something like that. So when you're talking to your potential customer, for you, you know what's going on your own end. But on their own end, it can be any number of things. And the truth is, at that point in time, I just didn't want to hear that something is possibly bad. I just wanted the guy to come and say that, oh, okay, the rain pushed the DSTV the wrong way. And then he will set it, and then he'll say, okay, how much is your labor? I'll give him a few grand, and then he will leave. I didn't want him to come and now say that this is spoiled and then that is spoiled. So, receiver is spoiled, blah, blah, blah. Are you sure? Troubleshoot. He said, okay, you know what? Let me put this new receiver and then we'll troubleshoot again. Is it troubleshooted or troubleshot? So we troubleshooted, troubleshot, or whatever it is. And it turns out that the decoder was bad. I said, oh no, signal is coming through. It's the decoder that is not processing. So we need to buy a new decoder. And then I'm thinking, Kai, what kind of rubbish is this? So I might need to buy a new receiver and I might need to buy a new decoder. So, okay, so call the office, find out how much it is, blah, blah, blah. But see, the long and short of this story is just that you're catching people on any given day with all kinds of yawa and all kinds of priorities going on in their life. And so let's face it, you're the professional, you know what's up. You know that, look, dude, you need to buy this receiver, you need to buy this decoder. But at the time, people just have reservations, they have concerns, or they're confused. So I was genuinely confused. Like, how can you say that the receiver is bad? This receiver has been fine now. We just put a new setup like 2 years ago. How can you be telling me that receiver is bad? Then this decoder. Okay, well, for the decoder, to be honest, we've been using that decoder since my older son was born. So that decoder is before he was born self. So the decoder is over a decade old. So that one, I admit, okay, yes, maybe it was time to change. So people have all kinds of reservations, they have all kinds of concerns, and they have confusion because you're the pro, you know what the problem is. But the young man you're talking to is just wondering, how can this possibly be the problem? I did this. We all have limited knowledge. So, he came with his diagnostic gear, he plugged it here, he plugged it there. The thing was showing all kinds of graphs. I don't know all those graphs and the numbers means. So you're catching people at different times of the day, different priorities of the month, different priorities of the week, different priorities of the year. So everybody has reservations, everybody has concerns, and everybody's confused about one or two things. That is the reason why objections come up. So in that kind of situation, if you're a DSTV repair person, it's not that consumers are shifty or consumers don't know what they want. But if the guy actually says, you know what, give me some time, I'll call you when I'm ready. It's not because he's being shifty. It's because of a whole bunch of things. Okay, school fees is coming in. I need to shove out this. Okay, this person is asking me for that. I'm owing this person this. DSTV is just not a priority right now. So, that's how it works. So the same thing for your product or your service. Everybody has reservations. They all have concerns. They have confusions. And that is the reason why people just don't want to take the next step. So, people are not liars. People are not stupid. People are not sketchy. It's just normal. We all do the same thing. Now, another thing that we need to consider is, apart from the normal reservations, concerns, and confusions, sometimes is that the person does not want what it is that you're selling, or the person does not need. And in those situations, it's your fault, because you shouldn't be starting conversations with people in the wrong place, which is why over here on the podcast, I keep talking about qualification and discovery conversations. You need to be having conversations with people where you're trying to figure out who are they, what are they about, what's the problem, what vision are they trying to work towards, those sorts of things. And is this even a problem that is worth solving? Because sometimes it might be a want or a need, but then the problem is not big enough to solve. Now, on the strength of priorities, if school fees is next week and I'm tight on cash and me and my wife have a couple of other things that we're planning and the children are going to be back in school anyway, and so they won't be at home for 10 hours of the day, and then the remaining 10 hours we can all just do Netflix. I mean, you can see how in that situation, yes, there's a problem. Definitely, the problem needs solving. But you can see how the person can say, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. And then 2 weeks, the person hasn't called you for the new decoder. It's because at that time, it's just a problem that is not big enough to solve. Right? So this is the right way to look at it. So let's stop being frustrated when people say no, or when people say, let me think it over, or let me get back to you, or let me discuss with my wife, my sister, my pastor, my younger brother, let me call my parents, let me pray about it. Whatever it is that people say, let us stop getting frustrated when people say that. Because most of the time, people have legitimate reasons for saying all these things. Very, very cogent reasons, You only know you. You don't know them. So you don't know where they are right now. So you have no idea what's going on. So we just need to have the right perspective. First of all, that is the first best practice that we need in overcoming sales objections. We're catching people at different times. We're catching people with different priorities. We don't know what's going on. You see somebody, the person is looking all right. I mean, you look at me, my skin is fresh. I'm baby-faced. I have a pot belly. You think this guy is loaded, All is all. Everything is good. But you don't know. The person might be fresh on the outside. You don't know what's happening in the pocket. Or the person might be fresh on the outside. The pocket is real nice and good, but, something has just happened. And so this is not much of a priority anymore. So the right perspective is number one. Stop taking it personal. It's just business. I know it sucks that you're talking to somebody. You guys are getting to that stage where you're now talking money. You're thinking maybe like 300 or 400K might enter your pocket, and then it just doesn't work out. So I know it sucks because every little bit helps. So even if it's 10K, 20K, everything adds up. So it helps. So first off is don't take it personal. It's just business. This thing happens. Apart from that, it's perfectly normal. We all have our self-interest to protect. We have to think about ourselves first. And then everybody wants to preserve their own autonomy. So there are lots of reasons why people will object, don't want to take the next step. And remember, we're human. So we all do the same thing. So stop forming all high and mighty and righteous. You do the same thing too. It's just that you're not conscious about it. But you do it all the time. So, that's part one, the right perspective. Don't take it personal. It's just business. So number two, part of the right perspective is, since we're catching people at different stages in life, different priorities and all whatnot, the best we can do is to acknowledge and to empathize and then ask a couple of questions so that we can get to the root of the concerns. Because if the people are saying, let me think about it, let me pray about it, let me talk to my pastor, I'll call you when I'm ready. If they say that because they have reservations, concerns, and they're confused about stuff, if the person says, let me talk about it, and you say, okay, let me talk to my pastor about it, and you say, okay, no wahala, I'll call you in 2 weeks. You haven't had a chance to address the concern. Is it the pastor or the husband or the wife who is not a specialist in this matter that they're going to discuss with? You really think the person is going to give them the best professional opinion about how to get this thing solved? You are the one that is a professional. You have to tease out what it is that is going on so you can address it here and now. So that even if they're going to discuss with husband and wife and pastor, at least let them go with the right understanding so that they can discuss properly. So get to the root of the concerns so that you can answer them. Then, another reason I should ask questions, if it's one of these situations where they don't want it, they don't need it, they can't afford it, or it's not a big enough problem, then of course there are other ways of getting about these sorts of things. So, that's the right perspective. So acknowledge and empathize. So okay, I understand. Mima, I have to pay school fees next week. So I understand you didn't expect this thing to happen. So, okay, it just happens. But, okay, let me see. What excuse? Okay, well, in that case, I didn't give him any excuse. I just went ahead and did it because, anyway, we just did it, we fixed it. So, there's DSTV now in my household. And, where was I? Okay, so I didn't give him any objection, but if I gave him an objection, what kind of objection would it be? Let me see. A DSTV person comes, for once on the podcast, I'm blank. I can't think of an objection that I would give or that somebody would give if a DSTV person comes to your house. Okay, I'm blank. I can't think of one. But the usual examples, for let's say something else, somebody says it's too expensive. So acknowledge and empathize. You can say, okay, I understand. This Tinubu economy, things are expensive, especially with the rate of the dollar, something. That small side chat, just to acknowledge and to empathize. But then you have to ask the question, like, okay, sir, when you say it's expensive, so that means you're looking at one or two other proposals. And then you keep quiet, and then you hear. Because if Oga has been listening to 2 or 3 other people and he has other proposals, you need to get a sense of what is on that proposal so you can make a correct comparison. Because sometimes Oga has spoken to, let's say what you quoted was 350K, but Oga has spoken to somebody and their own is 250. You will now start trying to discount to 250, but you need to compare and contrast first. If you say, oh, okay, you listen to other people, somebody said 250, You ask more questions like, 250 for so and so. Okay, are you sure? Okay, wait. What's the capacity that the person gave you? Is it the capacity or that capacity? The guy will answer. He will say, okay, that's the reason why now. That for that one is a lower capacity something that, of course, if it is this capacity at so and so, of course, I'll give it to you at 250. But for this problem that we're trying to solve, you actually need a ABC and an XYZ, so you should not be looking at anything lower than this grade. So you see how, in this case, somebody says you're too expensive. You empathize. You say, Tinubu economy, the dollar, times are hard, school fees. And then you ask a couple of questions. You've been talking to other people. Oh, okay, these other quotes. Really? What grade? That's the reason why. This grade is inadequate. You should be looking at this grade and this grade, even if you don't buy from me. So you see now, in this case, how you're able to deal with the objection. Well, at the very least, educate the customer that the other quotes that he's talking about are not going to be adequate to solve the problem. But if the person says, let me think about it, and say, okay, boss, no, I'll call you next week, you can see how you are not going to get a chance to even figure out what the main problem was and then deal with it. So acknowledge or empathize. Ask questions to try and get to the root of the problems. Where people have reservations or concerns or they're confused about something, try and deal with it now, amend your proposal, and then make another proposal again. So that's just how it works. So, try and find out. Do they have any reservations around price? Let's see what else. Are they confused about specs or quality? Or is it that they have concerns? Okay, so wedding photography, this is one that I faced a couple of times where somebody will say, I like it, everything is good, this and that and that. But during my sister's wedding, the photographer did this, the photographer did that. I used to hear that one a lot. That during my sister's wedding, during my cousin's wedding, during my colleague's wedding, something. So sometimes people just have reservations and they have those sorts of concerns that, look, you look legit, you sound legit, the samples look legit, as in everything seems on point. But I just don't want to pay this money because I'm afraid. The person that did my sister's wedding, he also looked legit, he also sounded legit, he also blah, 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 blah. But on the day of the wedding, he was 3 hours late. Apart from being 3 hours late, he missed these photos. Apart from missing these photos, he was supposed to have delivered in 3 weeks, but instead he took 6 months to deliver, blah, blah, blah. So, ask questions, get to the root of the problem, then you're going to be able to know how to address it. So if the person says, let me get back to you, but you never ask that question, and you don't figure out that they have concerns, you're not going to be able to address it. So if they are afraid because this is what happened at my sister's wedding, blah, 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 if you don't at least get the chance to tell them that, oh, okay, no, this is not going to happen because you live over here, this is my contingency plan, I know this venue, we're having 2 shooters, this is our backup, this is how we shoot, we have redundancies, so even though I miss this, second shooter always catches that, this is delivery process, this is our guarantee, this is our, you won't be able to have that whole conversation if you don't ask questions. Okay, so I think I've overflogged this whole thing about reservations, concerns, and confusion. So now let me move on to the other leg, which is sometimes people are objecting because they don't want it and they don't need it. In that case, it's your fault because it happens all the time. Let me see. Okay, so I was chilling outside the estate a couple of days ago. I can't remember what I was doing there. And then one of these guys, it's the same DSTV thing. Because the DSTV guy didn't know my address. So I just told him to drop at Zone D. I'll go and pick him at Zone D. So I was chilling outside the estate now waiting for the guy. And then one of these guys comes along. These Malo boys that sell this, what do you call this thing? Like Baraga. As in, it looks alcoholic. Then there's some roots inside. The thing looks fermented. It looks like engine oil. But anyway, people drink it for all kinds of things. All these miracle medicines. That if you drink it, you have no erectile dysfunction, your liver will be clean, your kidney will be clean, your sugar will go down, your diabetes will disappear, your eyesight will be restored, all those magic medicines. So I'm there, minding my business, and then this guy walks up, and because of my pot belly, everybody assumes that I have all kinds of problems. And so he walks up and he's trying to tell me that, Oga, that you buy this one, your girlfriend would appreciate you, no more weakness, what again? No more sugar, no more diabetes, no more this, no more that. And then, of course, my eyes are kind of yellow. I don't know why, but that's just how my eyes are. He said my eyes too will be clear and everything. And I'm telling him like, no, thanks. No, I don't need it. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And sometimes the people are just saying, no, thanks. I'll think about it. Come back in 2 weeks. The reason why they're saying that is because really, there's no need. So all the problems that he's talking about, I don't have. I don't have diabetes, so no need. I don't have erectile issues, so no need. Okay, well, TMI for the podcast. My eyes being yellow, it's something else. I've seen the doctor. My eyes are perfectly fine. By the way, for those of you who don't use glasses and you've never seen an ophthalmologist, you can check the what do you call this thing? Like eye pressure, like blood pressure, but you can check it for the eyes. So the pressure on my eyes, as in everything is fine. Like there's no problem. And to be honest, even if I had a problem, I'm not going to buy from this roadside guy. But people buy from them. So anyway, so sometimes somebody is saying, no, thank you. Let me think about it. Let me talk about my wife. Let me pray about it. Let me talk to my pastor. Come back next week. Email my secretary. Sometimes people are giving you that whole run around because they just don't want to shout at you and say, look, young man, can you get away, please? You're annoying me. So they're trying to be polite. But really, they don't want and they don't need. And when that happens, it actually is your fault. If you go for wedding photographers, you talk to the bride, congratulations, just got proposed to, you guys are talking, and then, when is the wedding? She says, the wedding is next year. But you're trying to close the deal now. Well, there's a want, but really, there's no need. Yeah, she wants a wedding photographer, but the wedding is next year. This is Nigeria. In Nigeria, we don't book wedding photographers a year out. I think maybe wedding halls. People book wedding halls maybe like 6 months out. I don't know if the trend has changed. But 1 year, I don't think so. So I know in America, people book wedding photographers 1 year out. If you're like a superstar wedding photographer, maybe even 2 years out, so they'll book you down. But Nigeria, that's just not the culture. So in that case, there's a want, but there's not really a need. I mean, it's next year. It's 12, 13 months away. So trying to collect a deposit now, that's a long thing. So we need to give ourselves brains sometimes. Sometimes we're the one who are causing the objections. There might be a want, but it's not really a need yet. And then sometimes people can't afford, which is why I say have the money conversations early. Because if you have the money conversations early, you know that this person can afford, you just leave it. So if you're a DSTV guy and this kind of thing happens and the person is voicing money objections, and it looks like they have unrealistic expectations about decoder. If you've told the person that really, decoder is 55k, and the person doesn't believe, and the person thinks they can get it cheaper, but you, as a professional, you know that there's no way they can get it cheaper, what will you do? There's no point in harassing the person. You say, I've told you, if you want, you can go to DSTV main office or blah, 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 blah. Anyway, here's my phone number. If you change your mind, let me know. I guess that's the best you can do in that situation. Money objection. I mean, they can't afford it. Money expectations unrealistic. There's nothing you can do. So stop wasting your time there. And then what else? Okay, I've already spoken about how it's not just a big enough problem. So when you're dealing with these sorts of situations, no want, no need, people can't afford, is not a big enough problem. Then what you do is move on, really, because when you're dealing with this class of things, this one is really substantial. Just move on. You're not Moses. You're not going to squeeze water from a rock. Just move on. Or you hand them over. So as a wedding photographer, that's what I used to do. Like, okay, no Allah, no problem. I really can't match you on that price, but I know somebody. He seems okay. He works within this range. Let me hand you over. So call my colleague. This is his phone number. He'll take care of you. Just tell him that you're from Tabishima, and then I'll leave it like that. Hand it over to someone else who can sort them out. Or try and get a referral. That's something that I learned when I was trying to do, when I was selling insurance, briefly, selling insurance and financial products. Because in that space, they try and get referrals from everybody. So, okay, you already have a provider. You already have life insurance. You already have this. You already have that. Okay, fantastic. No problem. Have a wonderful day, man. Oh, but before I leave, do you know anybody who might need XYZ products? So you're currently with this provider. They're giving you 12%. You're happy with it. No problem. And have a wonderful day. Oh, by the way, man, is there anybody else in this office that you know that could benefit from this kind of product? They say, oh, yes. Talk to Kunle in accounting department. Oh, okay. Thank you, man. Can I have his phone number? You get the phone number, and then you leave. You try and get a referral out of the situation because you're trying to look for someone else to talk to, because currently you can't help this person. This person has no want, no need that you can meet. So try and get a referral out of that person. So step 1, hand them over to somebody else. Step 2, try and get a referral out of this person. Or step 3, especially for those people who have a problem that is not big enough yet or that is not worth solving. Like, let's say you're in the financial products thing. Because this woman currently is buying insurance from Leadway, and let's say you're selling insurance from Access, doesn't mean she might not change in the future. So you get people on the lead nurturing campaign. Lead nurturing is just, lead is someone who has done something to show that he might be interested in your product or service. If this woman has bought insurance or financial products before, the chances are she might want to buy again. So you come up with a campaign where you stay in touch with people over email or over WhatsApp or over Telegram or whatever it is that you do. The whole point is you just want to remain top of mind with these people. Every week or every month, they should be seeing you and remember, like, oh, okay, this person is there. So that when the problem becomes big enough or when they reassess their priorities, they know that, okay, you can call this guy, you can call this babe to help sort you out. So that's the whole point of lead nurturing campaigns. You're just trying to remain top of mind with people until the problem becomes big enough or until they're ready. So, you put them in, you send them WhatsApp messages. Let me see. Well, apart from WhatsApp messages, staying in touch, WhatsApp messages, educating them on things in your industry. Let me see. Okay, I'm kind of blank now, but depending on the context, we can actually sit down, no matter the industry, and come up with some sort of campaign that, worst case scenario, even if it's once a month, you'll be able to send one message to them just so they can see that, oh, okay, this person is alive. This is what this person does. If things change, I can reach out to this person. And maybe also re-educate people so that educate people continually so that they have a better understanding of things they might not have considered before. Because somebody might have gone ahead and bought some insurance product with Leadway or with Access, and let's say you're selling insurance for does GT Bank have insurance products? Okay, let's say Nikon. So Nikon Insurance. So maybe people have been buying one kind of insurance product, but it actually is not a fit for them, and they don't know that because of changes in government policy or something like that. If you have those people on email or WhatsApp where you're sending them messages and things like that, it could be through those messages that they now find out about a tax change here or a legal change here or whatever that makes more sense for them to switch. And, there are deals that have been won that way because somebody sees something you put out and they call you and say, oh, I saw what you said in that last WhatsApp message, or I saw in your last Instagram post, something. Is there something I need to be concerned about? And then people have the conversation, and, it might, and who knows. Anyway, 30 minutes, so let me just wrap it up. I've gone on for too long. So the best practices for overcoming sales objections is, first of all, just get the right perspective. People have reservations. People have concerns. People are confused about stuff. So empathize with them. Ask them questions, figure out what the problem is. If you can address the reservation or the concerns, that's cool. It might make it easy for you to continue with the business deal. If they have confusions, hopefully you'll be able to clarify what the confusion is and might be able to make progress. But where you are dealing with situations where there's no want, there's no need, they can't afford it, the problem is not a big enough problem yet, please move on. Don't waste your time. Hand them over to someone. Don't waste your time. Try and get a referral. Don't waste your time. If this door is closed, another door might be opened. And then, if you think something else might come out of it in the future, look for some way of staying in touch. Back in my wedding photography days, one of my wedding planner friends scolded me seriously because she noticed that I talk to brides and I talk to grooms, but I never follow anybody on Instagram. And she's like, how can you not follow them on Instagram? And I was like, why should I follow them on Instagram? She said, look, this is how it works. You follow them on Instagram, a couple of them will follow you back. As you are putting up photos on Instagram, they will now be seeing your photos, and that's how you remain top of mind. And I was like, oh, I see. For me, the way I was looking at it was, I was tired of seeing people's rubbish on my Instagram timeline, so I unfollowed as many people as possible. But my wedding planner friend severely scolded me, and I realized that what I was doing was not a wise business move. I should follow as many of the brides and grooms as possible. Maybe as their own thing comes up, I just click on not interested or deprioritize, hide, whatever, so my timeline is not flooded. But at least there's the possibility that as I'm putting up photos, all these other brides and grooms that have followed me back will be seeing my stuff and then remain top of mind. So it doesn't have to be WhatsApp, it doesn't have to be email. There are different ways of remaining top of mind. So follow people on Instagram, let them follow you back. As you're updating stuff, they'll be seeing it and they'll be remembering you exist. For LinkedIn, it's the same thing. Follow them, follow back, exchange one or two messages. As you're posting on LinkedIn, they'll be seeing your stuff on LinkedIn. They'll remember that, oh, you exist. When I'm ready for solar, or when I'm ready for DSTV, or when I'm ready for insurance, this is the guy to call. So that sort of thing. So that's it for today, pretty much. Please connect with me on WhatsApp. The phone number is 080-6466-2140. Country code is +234 for those of you who are not Nigerian. Then, LinkedIn. That's the best place for business and career development. So those of us who are listening to shows like this actually should be on LinkedIn. It's the best place to be. Well, except if you're in the business of selling scrap, for instance, like people who sell scrap, I know that they have very active communities and buyer networks on Facebook. So if you're a scrap dealer, then go on Facebook. Well, if you're not a scrap dealer, then you should be on LinkedIn. So the name to look for is Tavishima Ayede. That's my name. I'm the host of this show. You'll get the correct spelling of my name from the link where you're currently listening to the episode. So if you're listening on YouTube, bottom left, above the title, you see my name. Just copy that name, paste it in LinkedIn, and then you see me. My handsome face will come out, and just click on, is it connect? I'll be sent connect. Well, I think you see a blue icon that says connect, so click on that. We'll get connected, and we can have a chat. So you all have a wonderful day, and so that's it. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.